Good morning. So, do you remember when everybody was wearing the bracelets WWJD? What would Jesus do? You can tell I took a jacuzzi before I went to bed. What would Jesus do? And everybody wore the bracelet, and the idea was when you had a dilemma in your life or you needed to make a decision, you were supposed to look down at the bracelet and then ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Well, you can do this with anybody. You know, one of the things to remember is when it comes to modeling, remember we talked about that the quickest way to create a result is to find somebody who's created the result and then model them, do what they do. The quickest way to do that is to simply upload that person's personality and approach, their values, their rules, their standards. So the first thing you got to do is you got to study the person. You got to read about them. You got to, if you can, meet them. If you can't meet them, that's okay. Watch them on YouTube. Watch videos. Watch posts if they do them. If they're older, read books. But then when it comes time to make decisions, you can simply ask yourself the same question. What would this person do? And if you want, you can start to just emulate, role model this person's standards by becoming that person, by thinking to yourself, what would they do? What would they do? And then seeing yourself as them when you're doing your actions. So it's a great way to kind of start breaking habits, but it's a really great way to start emulating standards. You know, whomever you surround yourself with is who you become. Remember, Napoleon Hill didn't have a lot of people that he could surround himself with when he first started. Obviously, once he got together with the people that he was investigating for his book, then he did. But he created a group of people to surround himself with in his mind. And it was Abraham Lincoln, and it was all kinds of very, very significant people, and he had read a great deal about them. And he held meetings with them every week and envisioned himself talking to them and envisioned them as his board of directors. And so he surrounded himself with these people and then had to live by these standards, because when he first started, he didn't have access to people like that. It wasn't until down the road that he all of a sudden had access to people like that. But before he got there, he envisioned himself in their presence and asking himself, how would they respond to me? And if I was actually meeting with all of these people, how would I want to appear to them? Well, that started creating significantly high standards for himself. And as a result, he started producing in a different way. So if you want to emulate somebody, simply upload their data. Consider themselves as part of your team and start having meetings with them. It isn't crazy. It actually works, because now you're going to start living by different standards, because you're going to want to raise your standards when you communicate with this person. If you're sitting there going, okay, I'm going to actually have a conversation with Jesus, or I'm going to have a conversation with Lincoln, or I'm going to have a conversation with Gandhi, well, you're going to up your game before you have that conversation, and it's going to create new standards. It's a great idea. Create your own board of people that you have weekly meetings with. Have a great one, everybody. Enjoy your Tuesday. Thank you very much for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.